Someone used one of these on you today. You probably didn't notice. Most people don't, until they know what to look for. These are 7 manipulation tactics that are used constantly by people of all kinds in relationships, workplaces, and everyday interactions. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. And if this is already resonating, subscribe. New video every week, and what's coming next goes even deeper. Tactic 1. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is one of the oldest and most effective manipulation tools in existence because it weaponizes a healthy human emotion against the person who has it. When someone guilt trips you, they're not trying to resolve a conflict. They're trying to change your behavior by making you feel responsible for their pain. The structure is always the same. Your action caused their suffering, and the only way to relieve that suffering is to do what they want. What makes this particularly effective is that it often contains a grain of truth. You did do the thing. They are upset. The manipulation is in the implication that you are therefore obligated to comply. The way to recognize it: notice whether the conversation is about resolving something real, or whether the other person's pain is being used as a lever to get a specific behavior from you. Tactic 2. Moving the goalposts. You did everything they asked, and now the standard is different. And when you meet that standard, the standard changes again. This tactic is exhausting by design. Its purpose is to keep you in a constant state of effort and uncertainty, always working, never arriving, always one step away from the approval or outcome that keeps getting further away. In relationships, it looks like this. You become more attentive and they want more space. You give them space and they resent your distance. You can't win, because winning was never the point. The point is to keep you trying. In workplaces, it looks like changing expectations after work is submitted, or adding requirements after agreements are reached. The goal is to make you feel perpetually inadequate, and therefore easier to control. Tactic 3. The silent treatment, used as punishment. We covered the narcissist's silent treatment in a previous video. But this tactic appears in a much wider range of relationships and interactions. When silence is used as punishment, deliberately withdrawn as a consequence of something you did or said, it is manipulation, not communication. The person using it has a clear goal: to make you anxious enough about the relationship that you will capitulate, apologize, or change your behavior, regardless of whether you actually did anything wrong. The tell is always this: would they be willing to talk about what happened? If the answer is no, if the silence is specifically designed to refuse engagement while maximizing your discomfort, that's the tactic in action. Tactic 4. DARVO. DARVO stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse, Victim, and Offender. It was first named by psychologist Jennifer Freyd, and it's one of the most sophisticated manipulation patterns in existence. Here's how it works. You raise a concern about something someone did. They deny it happened. Then they attack your character for raising it. Then somehow, by the end of the conversation, they have become the victim and you are the aggressor. You walked into the conversation having been hurt. You walk out apologizing. This pattern is particularly common in people with narcissistic traits, but it appears across many types of relationships. The signature of DARVO is that confronting bad behavior causes you to end up on the defensive, every time, consistently, regardless of what the original issue was. Tactic 5. Triangulation. Triangulation introduces a third party into a two-person dynamic, usually as a source of comparison, competition, or social pressure. In a relationship, it might look like everyone thinks you're overreacting, introducing an unnamed group as a jury that has ruled against you, or my ex never had a problem with this. Using a past relationship as a measuring stick you'll always fall short of. Or bringing a third person into a conflict in ways that increase your anxiety and insecurity. The purpose is always to destabilize, to make you feel like you're losing ground in a competition you didn't know you were in, to introduce uncertainty about where you stand, and therefore increase your motivation to please. Tactic 6. Gaslighting. We've covered gaslighting in depth in a previous video, but it belongs on this list because it's the manipulation tactic that makes all the others possible. Gaslighting, then systematically causing someone to doubt their own perception, memory, and sanity, is not just a tactic in isolation. It's the foundation that other manipulation tactics are built on. Once someone doubts their own experience, they are far more vulnerable to every other form of psychological influence. The short version: if someone consistently tells you that what you experienced didn't happen, or happened differently, or means something other than what it clearly means, and you find yourself consistently agreeing with them despite your own clear recollection, that's gaslighting. Tactic 7: Intermittent reinforcement. This is the tactic that makes people stay in situations that are clearly harmful. And it works not despite being inconsistent, but because of it. Intermittent reinforcement is the pattern of alternating warmth and coldness, reward and punishment, in a way that is unpredictable. The unpredictability is the mechanism. Research on behavioral psychology shows that variable reward schedules produce the strongest and most persistent behavioral responses, stronger than consistent reward and far stronger than consistent punishment. In practice, the relationship that is sometimes wonderful and sometimes devastating is neurologically more compelling than one that is consistently mediocre. The brain adapts to the pattern and begins to organize itself around seeking the positive moments and avoiding the painful ones, which keeps you engaged far past the point where a consistent pattern would have driven you away. Once you understand this, the confusion of "why can't I just leave" starts to make a different kind of sense. You're not weak. You're responding to one of the most powerful conditioning mechanisms in behavioral science. Knowing these tactics doesn't make you immune to them, but it does something almost as valuable. It gives you a frame. When you feel manipulated but can't explain why, when something feels off but you can't name it, these patterns are often what's underneath. Name the pattern. Then you can respond to it clearly, instead of reacting to it blindly. Subscribe for more videos on psychology, manipulation, and how to protect your mind. And I'll see you next week.